Everything goes according to the plan, and he successfully gets everyone inside the jeep. The dragon shows up at the last minute and throws fire, due to which Eddie's youngest son, who was about to hop inside the jeep, gets killed. The film begins with a little boy named Quinn, who's shown up at a construction site where his mother works as a construction worker. He wishes to meet his mother, who works in an underground construction program. He pays a visit and talks to her mother for a while, but she has to get back to some digging, so she tells Quinn to leave and get home safely. On his way out, he hears a man cussing at his mother only because she was making him go inside a tunnel he was afraid of. Quinn goes to that man and tells him that it's highly unethical and disrespectful to say bad stuff to a person just because they gave you a task you cannot do. The man's ego is hurt, so he dares Quinn to go inside the tunnel instead of him. Quinn takes the torch and fearlessly crawls inside the cave. He thinks he's touching the muddy walls, but in reality, he's touching the scales on a dragon's back. As he keeps stroking his hand on the dragon's back, thinking it's just a weird textured wall, the dragon spits a small fire near his feet. When Quinn looks up, he becomes scared to see the face of a dragon, which looks terrifying. The dragon spits its saliva on Quinn's face, which causes him irritation. He immediately arrives and informs everyone of the dragon sleeping inside the tunnel. His mother believes him after seeing his condition, but the men don't believe him. The men make a group and enter the tunnel to see if there is a dragon in there or not. The men somehow offend the dragon by spitting a large fire, wiping out their existence. The fire starts coming out of the tunnel. Slowly, everything starts catching fire, which makes Quinn and his mother run for their lives. Quinn and his mother take the lift to get back on the ground, but unfortunately, the dragon comes out of the tunnel and attacks the mother-son duo. The lift hits the ground with Quinn alive and his mother dead. It is then shown that the dragon's first appearance at the construction place was witnessed in 2010. Since then, the dragons have taken over the entire world and have reduced the population to a dangerous extent. The majority of people who were weak or unskilled happen to die within the coming years. In contrast, the strong ones survived and fought dragons for a living. This brings things to the current time, where fewer people are left on Earth. Quinn, a grown man now, is the chief of a minority group in London. He has made an underground slum where he gives refugees to needy people and provides them protection from the dragons. Quinn has befriended fewer guys that help him lead the slum. The people are only allowed to go out on the ground when they have to work in the fields or harvest food. Quinn and his people have crops outside from where they fulfill their basic food needs. One day, a guy named Eddie from Quinn's domain rebels and demands to leave. He blames Quinn and his poor food arrangements for the death of his wife and daughter. He wants out because he doesn't want the rest of his family to die of starvation. Quinn doesn't grant him permission, saying it's more dangerous to survive alone than to stay protected under his small community. Besides, he promises to provide more food once the crops are fully ready to be harvested. Till then, he requests Eddie to compromise. Eddie acts cool before him but secretly steals Quinn's Jeep keys. At dawn, he sneaks out of the underground slum with his family and some people on his side. They head to the crop field to get some food. Unfortunately, the security speculates a dragon's arrival in the fields. Hence, they ring the alarms in the field and the slum. Quinn and his associates wake up to the alarm and become alerted. Still, they realize Eddie and his family are missing. As much as Quinn is angry and mad at Eddie, he's also a leader who has to look after his people. He decides to go out to save Eddie and his family because he knows they cannot survive alone. Quinn is intelligent enough to trace them through his jeep. He reaches outside the fields and starts a fire in all 4 directions outside the fields. Though this was dangerous and could have destroyed their crops, they took a year to prepare. Quinn still takes the risk and successfully deceives the dragon because the fire creates thick smoke, which makes the dragon unable to see anyone. Meanwhile, Eddie and his people think the dragons have started the fire and become fearful. They pray to the Lord, knowing they cannot be saved. Thankfully, Quinn shows up in his heat-resistant suit. He assists them back to his jeep, where he can return them to the slum. Everything goes according to the plan, and he successfully gets everyone inside the jeep. The dragon shows up at the last minute and throws fire, due to which Eddie's youngest son, who was about to hop inside the jeep, gets killed. Everyone gets back and mourns the lost soul, but Quinn is mad at Eddie for making such a poor decision that his son was killed in the fields. The scene then shifts to the next day, where a few people appear in army tanks outside Quinn's domain. Quinn's security goes to talk to them. The group leader, Wan Zan, comes out of his panzer and asks the security to see their chief instead. Quinn and his associates come out to pay a visit. Wan Zan states that he and his group are warriors who fight dragons for a living. They want to make the world dragon-free like it once was. Unfortunately, in all this time, they've lost a lot of food and weapons. He proposes to Quinn that he takes him and his group as his refugees and provides them shelter for some time. He further shows a dragon's teeth that he's wearing as a necklace. To solidify his image of a warrior, he says he defeated a dragon and pulled out one of his teeth. Quinn takes the tooth in his hand and believes the guy isn't lying about his work, so he joins hands with him and takes him in. Quinn gets slightly attracted to a girl named Alex from the new group. She's a pilot who flies helicopters and helps in the dragon slaying operations. Quinn curiously asks how they kill such giant and vicious dragons. Wan Zan and Alex say that they fly the helicopters close enough to the dragon's heads so that the warriors can jump on the dragon's heads and slay them. In the next scene, the security guards suspect another dragon's attack by using their telescopes. They immediately ring the alarms in the underground slum, now alerting Wan Zan and his fugitives. Quinn and his men and Wan Zan and his men join hands and hit the road to slay the dragons together. Wan Zan sends 3 of his fugitives on bikes before them. They are sent to plant a radar-like machine in the fields where the dragons are about to appear. The machine is divided into 3 poles and requires its placement in the ground in the shape of a triangle, or else it won't work. The first 2 bikers successfully plant their poles on the right spots, but the 3rd rider tips over his bike and dies. Wan Zan tries to communicate with the 3rd rider to ask for his status through the walkie-talkie, but he doesn't get a response. Luckily, Quinn arrives there and talks to Wan Zan, who instructs Quinn about the right placement of the 3rd radar pole. Soon, Wan Zan suspects the main dragon heading toward the mountain behind which Quinn was working on the radar. It is then shown that Alex is flying the chopper, where she yells at a guy to become the bait for the dragon. She makes the guy jump before the dragon and gives him the bait. The man does as he's told and diverts the dragon's attention. Soon, he opens his parachute and flies out of the dragon's sight. Now, 2 other men of Wan Zan jump out of the chopper and trap the dragon in their net. The dragon appears to be stronger and breaks their nets easily. This was something Wan Zan's people had never faced before. They try to tackle the situation, but the dragon eats one of the 2 men, and the second one doesn't get the chance to open his parachute, so he dies. Subsequently, Wan Zan informs Quinn of the situation and tells him to leave the place since the dragon is headed in his direction. Quinn gets back on his horse, but the dragon chases after him. Wan Zan takes over the situation and fires a bazooka toward the dragon. The dragon gets severely injured and slowly dies. Whereas Quinn and his people are happy, Wan is upset because he lost 3 warriors to this dragon. There, he tells his real plan, to slay the only male-dominant dragon to stop the dragon's population from growing further and start slaying the female dragon so they can permanently get rid of the dragons. He asks Quinn to join hands and give him his people, too. Quinn bluntly denies it and says he cannot endanger the lives of his people. Since Wan is desperate and truly wants to free the people from the ruthless dragons, he goes to Quinn's people himself and gives an emotional speech to get them on his team. During the speech, his eyes become teary, indicating he is righteous. However, when Quinn learns about Wan's direct encounter with his people, he takes it wrong. He assumes Wan is trying to brainwash his people. He picks up a physical fight with Wan's aggression. Still, since Wan is super jacked up, he overpowers Quinn and gives him some solid fists that he had never tasted in his life before. Alex, despite being Wan's associate, feels bad for Quinn and provides him with medical aid. During their opposing time, the male-dominant dragon arrives, setting fire to Quinn's entire domain. The dragon doesn't stop spitting fire until everything turns into ashes. Quinn is helpless, but Wan and his people help him save the woman and children. They take everyone to a safe place. This horrific incident changes Wan and Quinn's opinions about one another. Wan apologizes for putting his people in danger because of his arrival. Quinn is thankful to him for saving his people. Quinn vouches for Wan's plan and decides to team up with him. However, he hands fewer people left to his domain's most trustable and responsible young man, Jard. He advises Jard to look after the people and always protect them no matter what happens. Now, Quinn leaves with Wan and Alex in their helicopter. They reach the central point of London, where hundreds of small dragons are circling over the historical buildings. Unfortunately, the trio has yet to make a plan to defeat the main dragon, so they argue. Soon, the dominant dragon shows up and scares off other mini-dragons. Quinn people become relieved to see this because they will no longer have to waste their energy on the small and unimportant ones. Now, Quinn confesses that he knows all the underground shortcuts to reach the middle of London without them getting noticed or attacked by any dragon. The trio goes underground and reaches a point that's the main tower. They send Alex out as the bait. She lures the dragon toward the tower, where Wan uses a crossbow to throw a bomb inside the dragon's mouth. Unfortunately, he misses a shot that doesn't kill the dragon but only makes it angrier. The dragon opens an attack on Wan, but he dodges it. He takes out his axe as his last move and jumps off a dead end, hoping to chop off the dragon's head, but instead gets eaten by the dragon. This leaves Quinn behind. He gets his hands on the crossbow and shoots the bomb, but the dragon sees him and starts chasing after him. After a hard chase, Quinn luckily gets his hands on the weapon and shoots the bomb, aiming toward the dragon's mouth. His shot doesn't miss and goes straight inside the dragon, thus killing it mercilessly. The scenes directly cut to the part where Quinn and Alex are seen building a new community together in a place that has become completely dragon-free. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more videos like this to help the channel out. Have a nice day.